radio interviewer said to me when I finished the performance of the Mahler Second, how is this possible? And to answer that question is why we've come to do this project. How is it possible to create an atmosphere, an environment in which extraordinary achievement is possible in an atmosphere of joy and ease? And the approach that we're going to use over these next few days is threefold. It's to look at the orchestra, to look at the art of possibility, and look at interpretation of music. Because I believe that the love of music and the expression of music and the experience of music depends on those three things, on the orchestra itself being wonderful. And so we've created a new orchestra out of professional musicians from the residency orchestra and also from the National Youth Orchestra, and professionals, so a combination of professionals and members of the Hague Residency Orchestra and young musicians. They will meet for the first time on Saturday morning and rehearse and perform Saturday evening, music that they have not rehearsed at all, completely unrehearsed with an audience. And the idea is that everybody who comes into that room will leave passionate love for classical music, even if they've never heard music in their lives. That's my promise. Anybody who comes into that room that evening will leave as a lover of classical music. Because I believe, as you've seen it written, everybody loves classical music, they just haven't found out about it. If you explain it, they understand and love it. And then from Monday night, we will give a concert, a formal concert for the audience in that hall. It'll be the first concert in that hall. It's hard to imagine that the hall will be ready for a concert, but it seems as though it's possible. The approach that I'm using combines the work that is in this book called The Art of Possibility, which is now in 17 languages, including Dutch, and it's all over the world. It's a book that explores a new way of thinking about the world, a world which is always open to possibility, where you're constantly in a state of mind open to whatever possibility can be created, where you don't fall into the downward spiral of despair and anguish and competition and fear, but you really live in this world. And it's a discipline to live in this world. And that's a discipline that I will be teaching the orchestra and also the audiences. And the other approach which I'm going to use is in interpretation of music. One of the reasons that orchestra players are not very happy people, because generally they're not very happy, is because the music doesn't often do what they want it to do. They have feelings about the music which don't get realized in the performance. And so I want to talk about with them and develop a whole way of approaching classical interpretation of music, which will be enlivening and joyful and expressive. Let me give you an example. All right? There's a passage in the Brahms Second Symphony, which we will be playing, which goes, and now comes the passage, now, if the conductor is conducting the poor players are going to be miserable because they're going to want to fly and to soar and to create beauty, and they're not going to be able to do it. So what I want to do is to be sure that all of the musicians in that group share the same approach to music, which will enable the music to soar and be free and be full of passion and engagement. And when the musicians are excited, the audience will be excited. And you'll see it because their eyes will be shining. The test always is the shining eyes, whether the eyes are shining. And I see success as being not about wealth or fame or power, but rather how many shining eyes there are in the room. So that'll be the test. And I'm pretty sure sure that by the end of each of the events, there will be shining eyes in the room, including after the rehearsals, which is very unusual. Because most people, when they're in a rehearsal, they're looking at their watch and they want to leave as quickly as possible and go to the cafeteria or go home. And my belief is that we will be so engaged in this experience together with all the stuff, because every afternoon there's going to be a class in interpretation. Very unusual for professional musicians to go to a class at all. They give classes, they don't take them. And so it'll be very interesting to see how they respond to that. And it's all going to be filmed by a wonderful documentary filmmaker who's going to try and capture the whole spirit of this thing. This venture, this idea has never happened before anywhere in the world, and it's an astonishing idea that a city, I've said this to many people in America, they're just dumbfounded that a city would take on such a project, pay for it, and support the exploration of these issues as a city event. It's unheard of. So it's very, very exciting. I arrived this morning from America. I'm feeling very fresh and cheerful, and looking forward to one of the most exciting weekends of my life. No question about it. And I would be very happy if anybody had any questions or disagreements, they would say so, and we could discuss them. Is there anything that somebody had in the way of a... There was a couple of questions before that were very interesting that people were bringing up, and I can't now remember what